to order. If y'all have had a chance to look over the minutes, can I get an approval of the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
If all are in favor,
Aye.
say aye. The minutes have been approved. At this time, we will now go to our new business, and we have Chief Blakeney with the resolution authorizing the memorandum of understanding between TPD and the American Society of Crime.
Good afternoon, Council. This is an extension of last year's contract. This is basically get certification of our crime lab. So we've had one round of accreditation so far, and I'm hoping by midsummer we're fully accredited in our forensics lab.
Okay,
Will we be the only one in Alabama or one?
The only non-state lab, yes, sir.
Okay.
So it's a really good accomplishment. Mitch Rector has done an amazing job doing all this. There's a lot of paperwork involved, but they're doing a really good job, and we're really, really excited about it. We get results back a lot quicker.
Tell him we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Will
I'll
do.
make a motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next up, we have Chief Smith with the authorization of memorandum of understanding with Troy University.
Good afternoon, Council. This is a MOU with Troy University and their mental health and social work program so they can intern with our EMS prevention program.
Okay.
It's similar to what we're doing with the University of Alabama now.
They send their students here.
Yes. They'll do some practicals and rotations.
Okay, that's
Motion.
good.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes. Chief Smith, you're up again.
Good afternoon again.
Good afternoon.
This one is, I made sure I got them out of order. This is just an automatic aid agreement we're updating for Duncanville Volunteer Fire Department along with Tuscaloosa. We respond in the PJ with them quite a bit. We also respond into the county when we're requested by the Sheriff's Department.
Okay. Any
Motion.
questions? You got a motion?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. And Chief Smith, once more with an authorization.
This is the same type of agreement with Englewood Holes Volunteer Fire Department.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, no questions. We got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank
All
you.
right, Mr. Mills. We have an on-premises restaurant retail liquor license, Big Bad Breakfast.
Can't wait to hear you some. You know what I'm saying? I will.
Good afternoon,
Alcohol
Council
is
and
great.
Mayor. This is
Me too.
part of our new process in the alcohol licensing approval process. We're presenting on-premises applicants to the Public Safety Committee or during admin, this before going to City Council. The first one we have is for Big Bag Breakfast. It's gonna be alcohol applications 24-009. They're applying for a restaurant retail liquor license located, at 520 19th Avenue. The hours of operation is gonna be from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. The first map you see is the area view of Big Bad Breakfast. The second picture shows the zoning map of Big Bad Breakfast.
So they're not gonna be dancing on the tables and stuff like that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Not early morning.
What were their hours of operation?
7:30 to 2:31.
Yes, sir. It was
7:30 a.
7 a to 2:30 p.m.
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Oh, wait, or is it
Did
a hearing?
Zach,
Is it
did
just a
you
hearing?
have
got a little
Miles,
bit more.
did you have
Yeah,
something?
Well, I want
This
the
one's,
breakfast.
a little,
You
Wrap it
ready
up
for the
over the
breakfast?
breakfast.
I don't believe there's gonna be a problem.
Bring out the mimosas.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna have
Yeah.
some questions when the time comes.
Okay.
So you can see the existing zoning, a lot of commercial around that area. Y'all are pretty familiar with the area. The menu for Big Bag Breakfast, very much a full menu. I know y'all are excited about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is this a franchise?
I believe it is, yes.
Aren't they out of
yes.
Oxford, Mississippi?
Okay.
Is that
I'm
right?
not
The original
sure.
location's out of Oxford.
Yeah. Do we have somebody from the?
is here.
I'm
We
here.
do, yeah.
Oh.
Really?
I'm gonna give you some time to
Birmingham?
mull over what you wanna order when they open up.
You're right.
The breakfast and alcohol has this kind of. We like it.
Much.
Okay, so, any questions?
Alright. This is their floor plan, so you can see a typical layout. Nothing too crazy there, and then I'll let Mr. Steins come up and talk about the occupancy piece.
Ms. Howard, the applicants are here as well to answer questions.
Okay.
So as you can see, the design occupant load is 123 persons. That's a hard number, so it's not gonna fluctuate or anything like that. So,
Okay.
got any questions? Shoot. All right.
You're happy with it.
I'm happy.
Okay. Chief, Blakeney, you have any comments or anything?
As you can see, we kind of changed up the way we do this. We put a lot of thought and effort into getting y'all the most information on these alcohol permits. This place had no incidences last year, and the police department has no concerns with this application. We are all in favor of it.
Okay. What was,
At that location.
Are they operate?
The address. We
Oh,
left in the
address.
address? Uh-huh.
Yeah, we did change some things up on this. We took away the heat map because we know where the big areas are downtown on the strip. We know where you're going to have your public intoxes. We wanted to give y'all more valuable information than a heat map with stuff all over it and the surrounding area. So we are going to do, unless y'all object and want it back the old way, we are doing locations at that place only because that's the value information. If we have a major concern around that area, we will throw that in there as well. We just want to have more informative information all the way around by doing the occupancy load, the zoning, the density all around, rather than just doing a heat map and then throwing up the crime statistics.
Okay, I like the heat maps, but I'll take that up with committee chairman. That's what I'll-
Yeah, if you'd like that, we can definitely put that back.
Yeah, and I like this process, but if we need to add the heat maps, what was in this building previously? Like what business?
I remember unemployment, was it?
Either revenue, I remember revenue or
Yeah, revenue.
It's been vacant for a while,
Okay.
Yeah.
for a pretty good
It
amount of
is on
time.
the block
remodeled.
west of Fifth Stage.
Close to Mellow
Along the new
Mushroom.
Fifth Street.
Okay.
I bet they do a big breakfast.
Well, let's find out.
Okay, so we have the applicants here.
Yes.
All right. Yes, we're eager to meet our applicant.
Hello,
Hey,
Hello.
can you state your name, the business?
my name's April Woodis. My husband and I are operating partners of Big Bad Breakfast, Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
So y'all are really running you're not, it's not gonna be a bar at all. Really. I
It is
mean,
not.
you're gonna serve alcohol, but
It's
you're
a
you're
small
not.
cocktail menu. I think you might have been able to see it there. Just regular brunch things, mimosas, Bloody Marys, things like that.
Okay.
No beers on tap.
How many days a week? You open every day?
7 days a week.
Okay.
You've been
He's ready to get in line.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Are you associated with any of the other, have you been to the others? I think he was telling me there's one in Birmingham.
There are stores in Birmingham. So Big Bad Breakfast is not a franchise yet. This is actually a joint venture kind of thing. We're operating partners. We're not franchisees.
I got
Yeah. So
Okay.
we're the
Okay.
20th store in the company.
Okay.
So kind of a baby brand.
Are you from here?
I'm not. I'm from Birmingham area.
Well, it's okay.
We're transplants here. To
Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, I'm not on the committee, but I'm your city councilman. Welcome to District 4.
Thank you.
It's an interesting concept. I hope and think it will work. I do think there's a market for that. I will tell you the problems that we're dealing with now are restaurants that have morphed into heavy drinking places, and that's a line y'all don't want to get near. But I think my hat's spoiling the landlord.
Yes.
I think it's a good concept, and sitting right between campus and downtown, particularly as we improve the downtown university corridor, I think y'all have a huge opportunity. I wish you well, and keep it safe, and bring your families to come in there.
Thank you. We will.
Thank you.
No dancing on the table.
None of that. Anything else? Okay. Thank you.
So, if there's nothing else from any of the committee members? All right, can I get a motion in a second?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Mr. Mills, you're up again. Made in Mexico Taco and Tequilas.
Yes, ma'am. This is Made in Mexico Tacos and Tequila, applying for a restaurant retail liquor license at 1241 McFarland Boulevard East, Unit 1. The hours of operation will be Monday through Thursday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., Friday through and Saturday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. The first map shows a map view of where Made in Mexico Tacos and Tequila will be located. My second picture is an aerial view of Made in Mexico Tacos and Tequila. This will be it's going into Old Margaritas.
Oh, okay, that's what I thought.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Pons.
Yeah, and so you can see the zoning district here. It's mixed use, so but primarily commercial up in this area. And then the menu, so you can see it's a pretty full menu. I know these are hard to read. Try and get as much as we can on this slide for y'all, but sounds like it'll be a pretty good location.
Okay.
And then continuing that menu, and then the floor plan, pretty typical floor plan layout here. No real issues on our end. And then I can let
Okay.
Again, so this premise is an existing building. It had an existing occupant load of 55. Nothing changed on the interior that would prompt it to be changed or up or anything like that, so it will remain at 55 persons.
Just a quick question. I think I know the answer to this, but I want to make certain I have it right. That 55, does that include the staff that is working in the facility as well? Or is that 55 patrons?
So, that's a great question. So, design occupant load does include, because every space in the building has a design load. So the kitchen has a load of whatever it's supposed to have based on the floor space, and the building does as well, as far as the layout and where the patrons, sit down and eat and things like that. Sometimes, depending on how we look at things, we don't always include that number in the occupant load, because sometimes it really doesn't pertain to the overall life safety, because we want to make sure that they're not letting more people than this in here, not because the occupants that work there every day, the employees that work there every day are familiar with the building and things like that, so it typically wouldn't have an impact on egress and things like that. So, but when we do occupant checks and things like that, to answer your question, yes, it includes everybody. So when we do count, so.
Okay. Any more questions? All right, Chief.
Like the other applicant, there's no incidents at this location last year.
Go to the next slide. TPD has no concerns based on your occupancy load, your hours of operation, and location, and we are comfortable with it.
Okay.
And Madam Chairwoman, if you don't mind, I would like to explain one thing that I think we've left out explaining to council. We've wanted to make this process a more robust alcohol licensing process versus presenting you guys with this information literally at 1:30 before you vote on it at 6 o'clock. But one thing that will make these a little bit differently is rather than voting to approve or deny, we can't deny an alcohol license in committee. And so what our request is the committee vote to forward it to council with either approval or either favorable or unfavorable. And if it's unfavorable, we hope that the discussion will kind of bear that out here. We will do our best to make it part of the record, but we'll also need to have some of that similar discussion in council to obviously make whatever y'all choose as defensible as
So,
possible.
Mr. Holmes, we are voting, just for clarity and everyone else's clarification, we are just voting to forward these applications to the council.
Yeah, as
Favorable or
unfavorable.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Could it be, Mr. Holmes, not to overcomplicate, just vote in favor, have the vote to be a favorable recommendation, and if it fails, therefore it didn't receive a favorable recommendation? Instead of a vote for favorable or unfavorable?
Certainly, but it will still appear on, council the next week.
So is there any special terminology I need to use to not complicate it, or?
No, ma'am. We'll
Okay.
help guide you through, and we are
Okay.
also learning this this process with you.
I like this process, but I do have some
It's
questions.
always one thing to sit in a room and discuss how you should do it, and then to watch
See
it
in
play out.
action.
So.
Okay. Is the applicant here?
Can I ask a question?
Okay, yes.
Madam Chairman? But the good part about this is if there are questions, it can be tabled. It can sit
Okay,
and say,
yeah.
we're not, y'all aren't gonna vote, or if somebody asks to table something, if there's issues that come up.
Yes,
in
sir.
These
And
discussions, which is a lot
often,
better, it's better than the way we were doing it.
oftentimes there will be issues that come up that you address with the applicant at council at 6 o'clock. And we think this will probably be a more productive venue to have, if somebody needs to change something to gain council approval, this would be a better place to discuss that.
Okay,
Thank you.
I agree. Okay. Is the applicant here? Okay. Would you like to come up and state your name and address?
My English is not that great, but I will do my best.
Okay, sounds
Pretty
good.
good.
Sound good, yeah.
We're just a new business in town. We are homemade Mexican food. We're trying to do a different kind of meals, not your typical Mexican restaurant. I do have a partner, mother, my son, and we're just trying to do it differently.
Okay.
And this will help us just keep up with the business as much as we can.
Okay. When will you open?
We're already open. We have food. It's been a week since we opened,
Okay.
and our hours from 10 to 9 during the week, and then weekends will be 10 to 10 o'clock at night. So,
You've heard all the questions
yes, sir.
before that we asked earlier, but you're gonna be a restaurant, not a bar, is that correct?
Yes, a restaurant.
Okay,
We're just gonna sell liquor.
all right, because that's a big deal to us.
Yes, sir.
All right, is this your first business or first time serving alcohol?
Alcohol, yes. We have
Okay.
other business.
Have you did the responsible vendors program?
I'm not aware of that
Okay.
yet. I'm not fully involved. We have managers, so they might have done that.
Okay. How can they get connected to that?
Let's do the ABC board.
The ABC board? Okay. I would like for you all to look into that.
Yeah.
What is it called again?
The responsible vendors program to
Okay.
make sure that you're selling alcohol the right way to the right patrons at the right
Oh,
time.
yes. I think I did talk to
Okay.
the lady about that.
Okay. Well, good luck. Sounds
All right.
good. Your
Thank
menu
you.
looks good. Are there any more questions for the owners? All right. Make a motion. Second.
Yeah.
All right. All right. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good man.
Okay, Mr. Mills.
It'll be different than you usually get, it'll be different.
Oh, yes. So, I'm saying, you got some good medicine.
Okay, this will be alcohol application 24-011 for Anchor Drops LLC. It's DBA Anchor Drops Tiki Bar and Kitchen. Applying for a restaurant retail liquor license at 2217 University Boulevard. The hours of operation are 7 days a week from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. The owners are here. This is a map view of the proposed location. The second map shows the the area view of Anchor Drops Tiki Bar and Kitchen. This is gonna be in the old Bistro 17, right beside Sessions. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Right beside Sessions.
Walking distance, that's walking distance, Kip.
It is, yeah.
All right, Ms. Pons.
It's funny. The zoning, as you can see here, the menu. So just to point out some things, I did discuss a little bit of concern that we had with the application, the planning division, materials. So they've stated that their hours are from 3 to 11, and they can kind of explain more about that, about, are they not serving lunch foods? Is it just dinner? So we had concerns there. And then the red text here, I know it's very small, but it does say that the red text is coming soon. And so I talked to the applicant to discuss, kind of what they currently have, which it looks like is wings, a sandwich, and a dessert, and then some drink options. So I just wanted him to clarify a little bit more of what their menu is, and they are here to discuss that. And then the floor plan. So The floor plan, this location, I don't know if y'all have been here, and I know the applicant might have some photos of the interior, but it's pretty small. And so this floor plan, I don't think does it justice as to like how much area is going to be open. But initially, my concerns when looking at this is there's a lot of tables to the side and some area for hanging out, drinking in the middle, which you typically see for like a lot of establishments who are gastropubs would move their tables and chairs so that they can have more, more of a bar atmosphere in the evening hours. And so all of these items, I know the applicant has come forward to discuss further, and that's all I've got. And I'll bring Mr. Stein up for the rest.
Okay, Marshall Steins.
Again, this is an existing building. The design load is 58, which is based on 15 square foot per person for tables and chairs, regardless of whether they rearrange them or push them to the side. 58 is it. So.
Okay.
All right. Chief Blakely.
As far as the incidents of this location, there wasn't any last year. TPD has no issues or concerns with this application if they stay true to the word as far as closing at 11 o'clock. The occupancy load is low, so that doesn't concern us that it's only 58 people. It's not a large establishment or anything like that. So we're good with it.
Okay. Are the owners here? All right, thank you.
Sure.
All right, if you can state your name and address.
My name's Tim Johnson. My address for the building is
Business?
2217 University Boulevard.
All right, do y'all have any questions for the applicant?
I do.
Yes, sir.
Chief mentioned this. I think 58 people.
Yes, sir.
We recently had a bar that had just a few more than this, and we obviously had overcrowding issues. I wish you well, but also hope that you keep it at 58.
Well, we have 44 seats in the building, and that's
So,
it.
That's it.
Yes, sir. I
Okay.
specifically wanted to not be a bar. I took the seating away from the bar, so you can't order from the bar. You can't sit at the bar. I want it to be a 45-hour turnaround type of situation. We're not trying to be a bar at all. I have a lot of respect for the Children's Hands-On Museum next door. And
Okay.
I'm local to this town, so it means a lot to me to.
Sure, and I want you to do well, I really do. But you understand, we want you to do what you're telling us.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And as far as the menu goes, I have a chef who's going to be hopefully starting next month. I just needed a little bit more money to get him in there. So we're going to be adding like poke and tapas and having kind of a revolving menu, partially centered around local produce and things like that. That's our goal and our plan. And then eventually to add coffee and smoothies during the daytime. So we want to get out of there at nighttime to be open in the morning.
When do you plan on opening?
As soon as we get a health inspection.
Okay.
Good luck with that.
Yes, sir.
All right. Sounds exciting.
Hard to get.
Congratulations. Are there any more questions? Oh, Mr. Busby?
Hey, Tim, I'm not on the committee. I'm the councilman for the district you're in. Welcome. Well, and you say you're local to Tuscaloosa?
Yes, sir.
So then you may know a typical scenario in a student.
I've managed bars in this town for a
No.
long time.
Okay, so a typical scenario is everybody starts out with the best intentions, and as the jaws of expenses versus revenues tighten, the alcohol starts flowing a lot more freely to a lot more students, and that's fine as long as there's no more than 44 seats, you said.
Yes, sir.
Obviously, a place can make it on the block. There are others making it there. So, welcome to District 4. You're getting your license as a restaurant, correct?
Yes, sir.
And what type of food does? I mean, they put the menu up, but I couldn't see it.
Right now, it's I didn't go to culinary school, so it's based on what I could do in design and some help from my friend. But he was a chef at Chuck's for like 7 years. He was the head guy there for a long time. He should be joining us next month.
Well, I noticed pineapples. Anything with pineapple is good.
Yeah, we got pineapple coleslaw. It's amazing.
Well, several of us have a habit of getting together for lunch on Tuesdays, so I'm sure you'll see us down there. Good luck. Welcome to the district. And if you're getting licensed as a restaurant, be a restaurant.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions or comments? Can I get a motion in a
I'm
second?
favorable motion.
Favorable.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, and favorable full to go to the council.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Mills, you're up once more. Rhythm and Brews.
Okay, this is the last applicant we have. It's gonna be alcohol application 24-012. Rhythm and Brews, applying for occupancy increase. They're located at 2308 4th Street. Hours of operation will be Thursday, 5 p.m. to 2 a.m., Friday, 5 p.m. to 3 a.m., Saturday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. First picture is the map view of the proposed location. The second one is the area view of the proposed location. The applicant is here to answer any questions.
All right, Mr. Hines.
The zoning, so you guys are fully aware where this is. It's in Timerson Square. So it's surrounded by typical uses that they're applying for. So this did get a conditional use permit approval. As y'all can recall, in May 2023, they expanded into the civil axe throwing location. So that business went out of business. And they expanded in there and stated the reason that they wanted to do that, and they have gone through with that, is adding bathrooms to their establishment, and that allowed them to do that with the extra space. They did specify they did not intend to expand the occupancy. Mm-hmm. It was a condition of their approval that they keep the occupancy that they previously had at their location without the civil axe throwing, which was 240 mm-hmm. maximum occupants, and that is what they have done, and that's what y'all awarded that approval on. So here's the floor plan from what it was, and then of course they've shifted into that adjacent space. You can see the new bathrooms on the top left corner of your screen, and I think they've changed around the interior a little bit more. Mr. Steins can speak on that, but that's what I've got for y'all.
Okay. All right, Mr. Steins.
Let me start by saying that what they have submitted, their new layout is designed within the tolerance of our codes, adopted codes.
Okay.
However, I would be remiss if I didn't bring to your attention the ongoing challenges that we face with crowd density, particularly the Strip and the 4th and 23rd area. My concern with the application was it wasn't enough information to me to satisfy me about crowd management and things like that, because that is an important element here. When you start getting to a range of 600 occupants, it becomes increasingly challenging to manage that type of occupant load, because people typically come in and exit the way they came in. And if you have an emergency or something like that, if you don't have enough people directing people in the right directions, sometimes evacuating the building not only becomes challenging, but impractical.
An emergency.
So those were some of my concerns that I wanted to address with you all.
Have they had problems keeping it at 240?
So we have had some issues. I think back in September, we had an issue with some overcrowding from my office when we were out doing inspections. I can't speak for TPD, but we have had some issues with them managing the listed number that they have now.
Okay.
So.
The issue from Saturday, Sunday was with TPD is the one that made the.
I'll address that.
Yeah.
I have a question for Mr. Holmes. So I understand they may have gotten their second citation within a pretty short period of time. If you get another citation, does the fine go up?
No, sir. Our maximum fine under state law is $500, or up to 180 days in the county jail. Typically, the person cited isn't an owner; it's a manager or something like that. Typically, there's no jail time involved. Obviously, egregious cases that may change, What we have seen in the past is once somebody starts getting 3 or 4, we start looking at a business license revocation.
Well, it just seems to me that a fine is just, can be part of doing business. And I wish we had something with more teeth in it, frankly, but I don't know that we can do that, but.
We do typically forward violations or issues we have with state licensed establishments to the ABC.
Okay.
They sometimes have more teeth, more power, and some things they can do in addition as well.
Is a penalty for getting a fine being shut down for 24 hours? How does that come into place?
So that is not a penalty. That is a public safety issue.
Okay.
But certainly it carries a economic dissuasion.
Okay, any more questions for the fire marshal? Okay, if not, then we'll have police chief.
Good afternoon again, council. TBD is heavily against this application. As Fire Marshal Steins mentioned, in September, they had an occupancy load of 240. TFD's official count was 500. This last Saturday, if it was possible to be even more against this application, they fit 619 people in their building. That count was done at 11:30 at night. So it's my understanding they probably would have fit even more than if we would not have shut them down at that point, issued a citation for 24 hours. It is a public safety concern to have that many people in that location. I know part of the argument's been that if you have civil acts, that they had an occupancy as well, but civil acts closed, and those two buildings weren't operating at the exact same time. 600 people in that building, if you allow that, you're not going to tell the difference if you've got 600 or 800. They're packed in there, and it's going to cause problems. We're going to have fights. But the fact alone that they were coming before this council on a Tuesday, that 3 days earlier than that they would violate their count, kind of says how that they're going to operate. That's 2 violations in, 4 months? That blatant. We're not talking about 10 people, 12 people, 15 people. They were 319 people, I believe, over. 379 over this last Saturday. They have no regard for public safety. If you're willing to go over your occupancy that much, the police department will never recommend an occupancy increase. You're not playing by the rules. You're making as much money as possible, and that's obviously what you care about when you go that high above your occupancy. But we are heavily against this, and we will remain heavily against any kind of increase. And I'll answer any questions y'all have.
Thank you so much, Chief.
I'd like to add, the chief's obligation is to give you the report on the particular location. And as I put in writing to you, to the council, I do want to touch on a few things about our concerns. 4 in particular. One is officer exhaustion. You see the amount of work our officers have to do, not just game day weekend, but think about this past weekend, just how busy our entertainment districts were on a non-game day weekend. This is the reality that our police department, and to some extent our fire department, faces 35 to 40 weekends a year. 2 is beyond the officer exhaustion, is the fact that our officers are having to spend more time away from home or forced into mandatory duty, that our competition at UAPD, Sheriff's Office in Northport uses that to recruit our officers to say you won't have to do more entertainment districts management. The third issue is the availability of officers citywide.
Amen.
During the time that we were dealing with the issue at Rhythm and Brews, we also had a shooting at another entertainment area. If we would have had one more issue on top of that, it certainly creates even more complications from a public safety standpoint. If we move that occupancy to 600 plus, it's going to require more manpower by the Tuscaloosa Police Department. Finding that manpower will be difficult because mandatory overtime is not a popular thing, and you can imagine, again, it gets back to other law enforcement agencies using that against us. And the last issue, certainly, if we have to provide more mandatory overtime, we're going to need budget revisions. Our budget for overtime went up nearly $1 million last year, in large part for entertainment district protection. It is expensive to provide that type of protection. I think more density in that area is going to make things more complicated. And lastly, I know that we have been consistent in the past year. I think if this were to be approved, then it certainly would appear inconsistent to other entities. And so I would like to keep that in mind. Again, I would ask that the concerns of TPD really be listened to and honored in this situation. They're valid, and we would appreciate that consideration.
Mayor, it took 9 officers to clear this out Saturday night.
9 officers that could have been utilized elsewhere. And if you've ever studied or looked at how crowd control is maintained and how occupancy is, and why it's so important, if you ever see a crowd collapse, that's a serious situation. And so it's very, it's irresponsible for any business to allow their occupancy to get over to that extent. So are there any more questions or concerns?
Is the owner here?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can we
I'm
hear
not
from the
trying to-
applicant? No. That's good. Can we hear from the applicant? And if you could state your name and address.
My name's Jeremy White, and I'm with Rhythm and Brews.
Can you explain to us how you miscounted Saturday night up to over 600?
So we recently partnered with a new app called Line Leap, and it started off with a different line than our line. So when we create a line to get into the establishment, they could pay extra money.
But I don't care about that. If you're in there, can you not tell the difference between 240 and 600?
Yes, sir. With our door guys out front, we're it was cold that night. So, everybody's looking down, counting folks in, and everybody's jumping the line leap, and really tried to do it as quick as we could. And by the time they looked up, their count was at 240, then their count was at 200, and it was out of hand. And it was really unfortunate. We tried all we could do but tell people to leave, and we could have told people to leave, but.
So even if you were trying to orchestrate people to exit, it was hard at that point to get them to get out in a organized manner?
We thought we would have a cycle. People would leave, and but
yeah,
it never happened.
Yeah, so if there was an emergency, it would have definitely been even more difficult to get them out.
Well, the systems we have in place now, we have 3 exits in the back and 3 exits in the front. So we have 6 exits. The only reason we're asking for more occupancy is, that's my job, is to make the business as successful as it could be. And, we're growing, and that's why we're kind of applying for more occupancy, because we're growing. We're at over 6,000 square feet now. And
Well, I understand. I'm not against bars. I'm certainly not against business, but our job is to protect the people of Tuscaloosa.
yes, sir. And we haven't had any instances besides overcrowding. And I know that's a big issue, but we do have a big security team in place. And we have, we try to target a good clientele, and we do live music. We don't do no explicit music, and we try to do things the right way. We've been there for 25 years, and we actually partners with the building as well. So, we're invested in the property. We're invested in where we are. We just want to keep growing. And at 600 by city and state code, that's kind of where.
My fear is if you have 600, are you going to have 1,000 one Saturday night?
No, sir. There's no way.
How do we know that?
Well,
I don't want to be ugly, but
Yes.
you've proven that you're not doing that.
I understand. And the first overcrowding event was a tailgate party that never left. And we thought we was going to have an influx again. And we were trying to prepare for the rest of the night, because you have flow. It's hard to kick folks out and not expect people to come later. So we was kind of expecting the natural flow, and it just never happened. And
Now, you've been caught twice. How many times do you think you've been overcrowded? Just those 2 times?
I couldn't tell you that, but we do have lines like in the wintertime when it's super cold outside, we try to put them in and try to do an influx of coming out. It's not like we're pumping them in there every night. We try to run it, but there's so much room in that place. That's why we're trying to raise the occupancy up to 600. Just try to cover a rent. And
Yes,
Regarding
Uh-huh.
that question.
Any more questions? Yeah.
So, hey, Jeremy, I'm not on the committee,
Yes.
and it's actually not in my district. Y'all have a cover charge Saturday night?
yes.
What was it?
We went up to $20 a head,
So 600 times 20, 12 grand.
roughly.
Who's collecting that?
We are.
I mean, some places have a single person at the door collect, some people have multiple.
We have a single entrance on our end, but the line leak credit a second entrance on the new addition for Saturday night. But 90% of the door money goes towards the bands. So
Okay,
How much?
My point, what I was trying to get at was there a single person standing there figuring out, hey, I got way more money than is associated with 240?
no, sir, I have a box system, kind of like that you see at a casino. So there's nobody's just holding a lot of money. I mean, it's
And you said y'all are partners in the ownership of that, is that whole place one ownership?
yes, sir.
And who are the owners?
HT and PWLC, it's Trip Powell, Roger Taylor,
And y'all?
and White's, yeah.
And then when 5 or 6 months ago, whenever it was, when y'all came for the additional conditional approval, conditional on, our objection to the council was not expanding the occupancy in there. What changed? I mean,
Well, at the time,
that's what we agreed to do. What
Yes.
changed?
well, at the time we applied, it was really sensitive about the occupant load and everything. And, Templeton Square kind of gets a bad rap because there had been some accidents and stuff in Templeton Square that has not been related to us, but it's, it's Templeton Square. But recently some establishments have left, and I think the bad apples are kind of gone out of our area. And that's why we're kind of reapplying for more occupancy because, we're just trying to better our business in a way.
Yes.
Can
All
I
right.
ask a question?
Yes.
When y'all came before the group in September, what has changed in your strategy that you think today, that you think you can manage 600 more people? What's changed since September?
We're
Because I
gonna
know
take
what was told, I remember that because I got a couple phone calls about it. Was it all we were doing is doing more space and bathrooms and all that, but what's changed how are y'all gonna deal with this?
Well, now we are gonna renovate our old bathrooms out of there, our dilapidated bathrooms, so we're getting rid of that. So it's gonna open up a little more floor space. But we do have a intense security team. We have 10 to 12 guys and 3 to 4 guys in the front. And we have panic devices on all the doors. And we just installed a sprinkler system and fire alarm system as well in that renovation.
Chief, you have any more
I want to make
comments?
one more comment, then I promise I'll sit down. One thing I do want to remind the council,
This year on the strip, we put a lot of resources out there, but we didn't do it alone. We're out there, UAPD was out there as well. I want to remind this council, at Tiverson Square, we have nobody else to rely on. If we have a shooting like we did Saturday night and our resources are elsewhere, we're pulling our strip units and we're pulling our downtown units to go handle that. That leaves nobody there. I'll be very clear on that. There's nobody else for resources. We can't lean on another department and say, hey, look, we've only got 5 or 6 available tonight or something like that. As far as the excuses for the counter, you can look in that bar clearly and tell how many people are in there. Bars across this city sit there and count one in, count one out. They've got iPad systems. They got everything under the sun to make sure they're right. That was a blatant disregard for the number that the fire marshal had set. And no excuse is going to convince me otherwise. One time you're over 500, one time you're at 600. I know I went there and argued with our door guys before about you're over, don't let anybody else in. I don't buy those excuses, and y'all shouldn't either. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Any more questions or comments? All right, so Mr. Holmes, if this is unfavorable, I'm just gonna say for myself, if I would like to make an unfavorable vote on this to recommend to the council, we need to vote yes towards that. I need to put that motion out there.
Or we could just not have a motion. If
Not
nobody
have a
makes a
motion.
motion to go forward, it'd be unfavorable, right?
I'm inclined, I'm not scared to say.
I'm not gonna make a motion.
I'm inclined
My-
to follow the recommendation of chief.
This is still new for all of us, so forgive me. I think my preference would be that we have a clear recommendation from this committee, because we're gonna need to, especially if the recommendation is potentially a denial, because it will go
You're
forward
saying-
for.
Can I make a
You're saying you
motion?
need to move it to the council with an unfavorable recommendation.
Yes, sir.
Can I make a
like
motion
would
that,
work.
for an unfavorable
Yes.
vote?
Okay, so we have a motion.
If
Or just say,
if the
voice our
committee,
opinion on
if
how
the
we feel.
committee has a negative opinion of this request, you would make a motion to forward to council with an unfavorable recommendation.
That's my motion.
Second.
All right, so all in favor Aye.
Unfavorable.
all in favor
Yeah.
of
Aye.
sending an unfavorable full
Yeah,
recommendation to the
recommendation
council,
of chief
says
and
aye.
staff said.
And we'll work on making this an easier process.
Yes. All right, so, we have a motion,
Yeah.
a second, and all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes to the council. So if there's nothing else, I would like to say, I like this process. I think we need to get through it again, but I like this process and I look forward to it the next time. If there's nothing else to come before this committee, then can I get a
I'll
motion
make a
to
motion
adjourn?
to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?